morning and welcome to another edition of Money Talk with Melanie. This is your business diva, the diva of dollars and cents, Melanie Collette, coming to you live from Cape May County, New Jersey via SHR Media and High Plains Pundit Talk Radio and TV. This morning, we will have with us Bethanie Nonami of Marley Nonami. And she's going to talk to us about marketing, business, growth, technology, and growth hacks. I know, say that all at once. Marketing, business growth, technology, and growth hacks. So basically how to use technology to grow your business, which is a big deal. Some companies, if it's a technology-based company, are pretty savvy, but then there are some companies that are that have been around for a good long time and have not been using technology to grow their business. And sometimes when you're using technology, you just may not be using it specifically to grow your business. And so that's what we're going to talk to Bethanie about this morning. So I'm looking forward to speaking with her about that and about what her company does. So pretty excited. Whenever I see something that I've never seen before, I'm always like, what's that? I need to find out. My audience needs to find out. So she has some stuff on her website that it's some growth things on her website that I had never seen before. And so I wanted her to talk to the audience about that this morning. So we're looking forward to chatting with her. But of course, before we get to that, we're going to do a bit of housekeeping, but we are going to change the format a little bit. I'm not going to bring her on until halfway through the show. We're going to do the 5 minutes of personal. We're going to do the news, 5 minutes of personal finance, which will be closer to 10. And then we will bring Bethanie on at 10:30. So just a little bit different than the normal format, but I think it's going to be okay. She couldn't meet till 10:30, and I started to move it, and I thought, why not just be a little creative? So we're going to try that, see how that format works. But before we get to that, a bit of housekeeping. I want to thank my sponsors, businessbuyeradvantage.com, Mr. David Barnett at businessbuyeradvantage.com. Please go to his website. He has hundreds of YouTube videos to help people buying and selling businesses, like as investments or as keepers or however you would like to do it. He also has 2 books, Franchise Warnings, What You Need to Know Before You Buy, and 21 Stupid Things People Do When Trying to Buy a Business. So those are 2 books that David Barnett has of businessbuyeradvantage.com. Make sure you go to his website, check out his books, buy his books. Very good information there. And if you're not familiar with David Barnett, he's vacationing. One of the things he mentions in his little promo is that he takes 6 vacations a year. I think he's on number 7 because I can't get him until after September 5th, which is fine. But if you want to familiarize yourself with him, I have had him on the show before, and I'm sure his name is right on the podcast. If you go to or just Google Money Talk with Melanie, you'll find it. You'll find it on YouTube or whatever, so check him out. Also, of course, would like to thank the one and only Tax Mama, aka Eva Rosenberg. She also has books. One's called Deduct Everything, and the other one, Small Business Taxes Made Easy. If you go to her website, taxmama.com, it's Taxmama with 1 M, she also will answer your tax questions for free. So, and she's an expert, been in the business for 20 some odd years, and just all around fantastic lady. And her books are award-winning books. So you definitely want to check those books out by going to taxmama.com. What else do I? And I do have one more sponsor, which I will announce at the end of the show. So I'll talk to you about that toward the end. We'll talk about the new sponsor, kind of a joint sponsor venture thing. Always something new going on at Money Talk with Melanie. Anyway, so we're going to talk about that at the end of the show. But if you want to know in advance who's going to be on my show, you can always do that by following me on any of my social media. If you Google Money Talk with Melanie, you'll probably find it all. But most immediately, at Money Talk Mel is my show Twitter handle, and at Money Talk with Melanie is my Facebook handle. And of course, if you'd like to email me about anything, moneytalkwithmelanie@gmail.com is the place to do it. If you'd like to give me a call, you can do so at 937-756-6639. Suggest a guest, maybe a topic for the 5 minutes of personal finance, which I did not mention what that was today. The 5 minutes of personal finance today is start financial planning in 5 easy steps. So we're going to talk about how to start financial planning in 5 easy steps for the 5 minutes of personal finance, which we're going to address after the news. So speaking of news, here it's time for the Money Talk News Report. Unfortunately, and of course, what's been all over the news is what's going on in Texas the last few days, and is set to continue over the next couple of days, which is the Hurricane Harvey that has struck the city of Houston, Texas, very hard. But a lot of Texas is under water right now, and so I don't think there's anybody who hasn't heard about the hurricane that's going on in Texas, Hurricane Harvey. But they have literally received a year's worth of rain in a couple of days. So Texas could use our thoughts and our prayers, but of course our resources by way of money, by donating to places like the Red Cross, which is probably the biggest thing you can do to help. And of course, if you live there and you have a boat, they're saying on the news, help out with rescuing people, because they still are rescuing people. It's still a rescue effort, and it's going to be a rescue effort for a while there. But the most powerful thing we can do is pray for the people of Texas. And if you're not a praying person, that's fine. But if you are, and you believe in the power of prayer, I would go ahead and do that. And continue to cover the people of Texas in prayer. On a much lighter note, Amazon back in the news today. I can't believe I'm talking about Amazon again, because I like never talk about them. And by never talk about them, I mean I talk about them all the time. Because listen, they're getting ready to slash the prices at what we used to lovingly call, what everybody lovingly nicknames Whole Foods, as Whole Paycheck, because if you've ever been to a Whole Foods, it can be a smidge on the pricey side. I mean, it's very good product and everything, but the the prices are a little steep. They're a little high. You're getting good quality, but the price is high. One of the first things that Amazon is going to do, since they bought them out, is going to lower the prices on things like avocados, which I believe are at $1.5 million in avocado at this point. I'm not sure. I'm not sure. It's pretty high, is what I'm trying to say. I was exaggerating, but avocado is like super expensive. And so that's the first thing that they're going to focus on, according to reports, is that they're going to start lowering the prices. Apparently right now, Amazon and Whole Foods combined only has about 2% of the grocery store market share. Walmart, believe it or not, has 14.5% of the market share. So of course, Amazon is all in, Walmart are always competing. And so this is just another thing for them to compete. And this is the beauty of the free market, folks. When they compete, we win. With lower prices. So I'm good with that. Hopefully you're good with that too. Goodness gracious. This is interesting. Missouri's going to lower the minimum wage. How about that? The minimum wage, which is now $10 an hour, is going to be lowered by $2.30 an hour, because apparently somebody figured out what conservatives have been saying for quite some time, which is that if you up the minimum wage, that it's going to cost businesses more money. It's going to cost in service, and it's going to increase the unemployment rate, because people are going to get fired. I mean, that's just businesses are going to readjust their model so that they can profit. And when you do things like artificially raise the minimum wage, this is what happens every time the government interferes in the free market. I'm just saying, this is what always this is what always happens. So you have to be, hopefully everybody, all these $15 an hour minimum wage people that think you should get paid $15 an hour to flip a burger, or to take an order. I worked at McDonald's. I got paid $3.50 an hour when I first started, which was never mind when, which was a while ago. And I was a teenager. $3.50, because that's all my labor was worth with no experience and no education. It's not and listen, and I've said this before, people conflate the value that you get paid per hour with your value as a person. This has nothing to do with how God sees you. God sees you as perfectly valuable. But in the free market, with no education and no experience, your value is worth about $7, just or whatever the minimum wage is in your state. I'm just saying. So I mean, it's supposed to incentivize you. That's not one of the purposes, but I'm just saying it should incentivize you to do better. That's what it did for me. I know one of the things that I knew for sure is that I didn't want to do that for the rest of my life, and so I needed to make sure I got my education and that kind of thing. So minimum wage is never really designed for people to live off of. It's just a fact. It's a side job, or something to do in between, or something for teenagers to have, because that's the level of skill that you're offering. I hope people understand what I'm saying when I say that. Anywho, it's time for a commercial break. You're listening to Money Talk with Melanie. This is your business diva, the diva of dollars and cents, Melanie Collette. And we will be back with your 5 minutes of personal finance in a few moments.
Leaders capable of governing for the good of the Republic? Hello, I'm Ron Edwards. On today's page from the Edwards Notebook, it is obvious that congressional leaders and others disdain President Trump so much they are risking losing their seats in the 2018 midterm election. They don't even want to protect our sovereignty with a border wall to keep out illegal immigrants. They, along with their dragon media pals, denigrate the president, who has presented many great ideas to improve our national quality of life. But the globalist Republicans and the leftist Democrat Party colleagues only seem to specialize in doing nothing but dragging their feet and irritating the president. After all, they had 8 long years to bring forth plans to return great medical care to America. I never heard of Mitch McConnell, Paul Ryan, Senator Collins, or any other rhinos giving a fraction of the opposition to Obama's harmful policies and sometimes inaccurate or negative remarks as they have exhibited toward Trump. Perhaps their globalist or do-nothing worthwhile philosophy is more important to them than actually earning their decent taxpayer-funded salaries and do something like legislation. Oh, but they can't allow doing the right thing to get in the way of their war against Trump. My bad. I'm Ron Edwards.
Sponsored by the Tri-County Liberty Coalition.
Who likes paying taxes? Nobody. That's why Eva Rosenberg from TaxMama.com wants you to pay less of them. Read Small Business Taxes Made Easy and learn how to set up a business plan that minimizes taxes, the tax benefits of different forms of financing, spot and fix errors in the 1099s, legally increase your deductible expenses with better record-keeping techniques. Don't let the IRS squeeze you out of every penny. Start deducting today. Visit TaxMama.com. TaxMama.com. That's TaxMama with 1M.com.
My name is David Barnett, and I've been helping people buy and sell small and medium-sized businesses since 2008. So far this year, I've gone on 5 vacations. It's because I've got my own business. When you get tired of being managed by someone else and you decide that business ownership is right for you without the risk of starting your own unproven enterprise, then come over to businessbuyeradvantage.com. There are over 100 YouTube videos on buying and selling businesses that you can watch for free. That's businessbuyeradvantage.com.
And we are back. You're listening to Money Talk with Melanie. This is your business diva, Melanie Collette. And we're going to, instead of bringing on our guest, Bethanie Nonami, of Marley Nonami, we're going to do the 5 minutes of personal finance first, which is really going to be more like 10 minutes of personal finance. And at around 10:30, you will probably hear something that sounds like a doorbell, which will be her entering the meeting zone, so to speak. And then we'll be able to chat with her, which I'm really looking forward to, because we're going to be talking about business growth, marketing, technology, and other growth hacks. So I'm pretty excited about that. Those are always helpful to have. Always stuff that you didn't think of. Usually is what happens. It's something you never thought of before. So I'm excited about making it happen and about talking to her about that. But before we get to that, we are going to do the 5 minutes personal finance, which today is to start financial planning in 5 easy steps. Start financial planning in 5 easy steps. So what are these 5 easy steps that I am talking about? Okay, I'm trying to, my Google really, if you're watching me, I can never tell. Sometimes it freezes and it's hard to tell. It's fine when I watch the video. So go figure. Like it never misses a beat when I watch the video. So forgive me for that. Anywho, the 5 minutes of personal finance. Start financial planning in 5 easy steps. So let's talk about those 5 easy steps, shall we? The first thing that you need to do, and we talked about the definition of financial planning on Friday, which we started with the 5 financial terms. 5 financial term Friday, I think that's what I'm going to call it, which is going to be the 5 minutes of personal finance every Friday, where we discuss financial terms. And one of the financial terms we discussed last Friday was financial planning, and what is involved in financial planning, which is basically assessing what your liabilities and assets are, which we also discussed the definition of those. So go back to the show if you're not sure what I'm talking about, and then plan for your future accordingly. So these are the details, if you will, behind financial planning. So the first thing that you're going to do is take an inventory of your finances, and a real inventory, like not the fake inventory that we like to do because we like to feel good about ourselves. And it's not because of anything that I experience at all, and I know anything about this. No, I actually know a whole lot about that. That's why I'm saying it. So take the real inventory of what you have, and this is going to be known as your assets. Get some idea, where you stand and how much money you're working with. Now, these are the things that you want to do. Find out how much debt you have. Get all your account balances, all your assets. Find out what your debt load is, and find out what your credit score is. Now, if you use an app like mint.com, it's really good for this. Because once you put all that information in, it will tell you what your net worth is, and you'll really get an accurate picture of where you are. So that's the first thing you need to do, is make sure you take an inventory. The next thing you want to do is set some goals for yourself. What is it that you want to do? Now, I know that people like Dave Ramsey and Susie Orman, I believe her name is, will definitely tell you that the first thing, I think Dave Ramsey actually says, emergency fund, then debt. I wanted to say that he says debt first, but he says emergency fund first. That's like the baby steps. And then take care of your debt. But you want to draw your own map and figure out what goals you want to accomplish. And there's tons of free calculators and things online that you can grab. Dave Ramsey's app, I think, is called Every Dollar. I think that does cost $99 a year, something like that, but it's worth every penny. It's really good. But some of the free apps like mint.com is very good. I actually use that one myself, and it will, if the more information you give it, the more information it will track and the more useful it is. The one thing that I like about mint.com is, like I said, it keeps track of things like how much your car is worth in the depreciation. Like it's real time, good stuff to keep track of your money. So mint.com, I highly recommend in that regard. So set some goals. You understand in real time how much your goals are going to cost. Like, what's the amount of money? Like, what is the amount of money you need to save? They usually recommend 3 months salary. So, and then how are you going to go about doing that? You need to map that out with your goals. Okay. Then the third step, you want to create a budget and then commit to surpassing or your make or break number. Now, this is, I've talked about budgeting many, many times. It's so hard for people to do, especially if you're a little bit of a control freak. Like I said, again, nothing I can relate to at all. Just you know, friends, not me. I'm kidding. But you know, sometimes you like to have the freedom to spend, and the budget's like the complete opposite of that. You feel like somebody else has control. Well, if you're going to accomplish your goals, the only way to really do it, I hate to break it to you, ladies and gentlemen, is to keep a budget. You just have to. You just gotta. And again, mint.com is excellent in this regard. If you overspend or something like that, it gives you pie charts, you know, daily, weekly spending. I mean, there really is complete and total accountability with an app like mint.com. They really need to send me a check, seriously. Anyway. So that's the third thing you want to do. Make sure you set a budget. Next thing you want to make sure that you do is categorize your goals and fund them. Sure you're able to fund all your goals. And you may have to do it. You may have to set one goal and then work on funding that. And then once you fund that, set your next goal. But make sure you have all of your goals kind of in order and how it is that you want to accomplish them. Now, many times when we are doing this and we're doing some financial planning, we find that our spending is a tad, it's just natural human tendency, is a tad outside of what we make. And that's not good, because when we do that, we end up in what is called debt. And debt can be a #1 hindrance to accomplishing your financial goals, and can of course send your financial planning completely off course. So that's definitely something that we don't want to do, is have our financial planning off course. So what you want to look at is ways that you can, or I should say, are ways that you can increase your income. And we've talked about this many times on the show. There are ways to get passive income. There are ways to work at home. You can sell stuff. There's also portals like Ebates is the one that I use, where everything that you buy online, you get like a little bit of a kickback. Using your rewards for your credit cards, making sure that you pay your credit cards off. Oh, that's my guest. Wonderful. Hi, Bethany. Making sure that you pay your debts off, pay your credit cards off at the end of the month if you're going to use your rewards. Very important. So that's your 5 minutes of personal finance. We decided to do that first this time. And that's because we're going to have Bethanie Nonami on at 10:30. But first, we're going to go to a commercial break very briefly, and then we'll be back in a minute with Beth Nonami. Very excited to talk to her this morning. And she can't be seen yet, but I can see her, and she looks beautiful. She looks gorgeous, just like her picture. So I'm really, really, whenever you have these good-looking women on, you always got to step your game up, But more important than that, she has some very important information to share with us about stepping up our marketing game, using technology and growth hacks. So I'm excited to talk to her about that. You're listening to Money Talk with Melanie. This is your business diva, Melanie Collette. We'll be back in a few moments.
Power brokers use corrupt politicians, deceptive Islam, and lies from establishment media to turn the once shining city on a hill into the city of the blind. What do the elites fear? One man with a cane. I'm Dave Milner. Join me at SHR Media, High Plains Talk Radio, Spreaker, iTunes, and YouTube for a different kind of commentary on the unpleasant blind guy. Because truth is not always pleasant.
Hello, I'm Tim Hart. I'm the guy BZ hires due to his shameless contract with the SHR Media Network to voice his promos. He'd like me to tell you that the Bloviating Zeppelin's Berserk Bobcat Saloon radio show can be found on SHR Media Network, Spreaker, and YouTube every Tuesday and Thursday night at 11 p.m. Eastern and 8 p.m. Pacific, featuring right thinking from a left brain and doing the job the American media maggots won't. You'll find that the speech is free, but the drinks are not. There, in the saloon, just when safety pin manufacturers are running out of metal for the diapers of the leftists, BZ is sending his personal drones of freedom into the wheelhouses and ossicles of lovers of sovereignty and liberty nationally and globally. Broadcasting behind enemy lines in occupied California, BZ swears that no rights were harmed in the making of this promo.
From the war front to the streets of our nation's capital, men of faith, Dr. Michael Jones, the underground professor, and Kenneth McClinton, the exceptional conservative, bring both constitutional gravitas and spiritual perspective on today's issues to the most influential Christian urban talk show, 9:05 p.m. Eastern, Thursdays. It's a new day on New Day, Black and Red.
Okay, we are back. You're listening to Money Talk with Melanie. This is your business diva, Melanie Collette. And we have with us this morning, I hope I'm pronouncing your name correctly. I think I am, right? Bethanie Nonami.
Yes, it is correct.
Yes, wonderful. Because you very proactively sent it to me and spelled it out. And I said, I'll make sure you get this right, Melanie, because that would be a really bad look after she spelled it out for you. I'm so happy to have you on the show this morning.
Thank you for having me. I'm excited to be here.
So, first of all, before we even get to any of what you want to talk about, the meat of what you want to talk about, tell us a little bit about Marley Nonami, what it is that you guys do, and a little bit about your own background, if you would.
Sure. So I actually started straight out of high school in technology, which I loved, luckily, and didn't require a college degree. And so I've been in technology for about 26, 27 years. And what I have always done is helped businesses grow. 10 years ago, that was, how do you have a website? Make sure you blog every week. And then about 5 years ago, that needed to change into, great, you have traffic, but they're not turning into emails. They're not turning into customers. And now 100% of my focus is everybody needs to convert into revenue. Everything that we do, we can measure and we can see, and we don't have to make the same assumptions that we used to make in business. Like, oh, I think my people like this, or I think they want this. Like, the game has changed, and it's such a great time to be in business and to be successful, regardless if it's down economy, up economy, because we have access to an enormous amount of data that helps us make better decisions as business owners and as entrepreneurs and as people. So that's kind of what Marley Nonami does. We're a growth advisory firm, so we work with different clients to advise them on different ways to grow, whether it's their online marketing, whether it is selling more products to their existing customers. It's helping them grow and scale their business, opposed to just getting stuck in the daily stuff that you're reading a blog. Oh, I need to blog every week. Oh, I need to be on every social media platform. And you have the best intentions and you get tired. Quick.
Right. So instead, what you guys do is help the business to focus on where their resources, time and money are best used.
Right. Absolutely.
Okay, that makes a lot of sense. Like you said, with the data that we have available, I've had digital marketing people on the show before, and I'm a tech person too, by the way, very techie girl. I'm a recovering public school teacher. I taught computer programming. Yeah, recovering big time. Still hurting. But you have so much data where with direct marketing and things like that, which is great and has its own place. But you don't get the feedback that you get with the digital marketing and the technology platform. I mean,
Right.
you can really only kind of just guess with that kind of marketing. But with analytics and things like that, you can certainly really nail down where to focus with a company like yours.
Absolutely.
Now, I had never heard the term scaling your business before. Can you explain what that is, the concept of scaling your business?
Yep. So if you are a person that trades time for dollars, and that is, you do projects and you bid on a project and it's going to take you 80 hours of time, there is nothing that you can do because you've just exchanged 80 hours of your time for this project. What you need to think about is, how can I create something that's recurring? So it's not feast or famine. Like, I don't have to hustle to sell the next widget. I don't have to hustle to get the next client or to get the next project. What can I do to steady my income? What can I do that doesn't need just my time? Is that going from a solo person to teaching someone what I do? So maybe I'm just managing the project and they're doing the work. Is that coming up with a course? There are so many courses, and I know it might seem like there's a lot, but it keeps doubling. So last year was a $54 billion industry per year. This year it's a $120 billion industry for online courses.
I need to teach online courses. I'm a teacher.
You see it everywhere, but almost anything you do, there is someone, multiple people in the world looking to learn that skill, learn that craft, learn that trade. So whether it is your process to get people ready to work with you, something that you repeat over and over again, whether it is getting clients to the point that they're ready to even hire you. So you have all of these objections that people overcome. You have all of these people, 3% of people are buying at any time. The other 97% buying anything, buying a car, buying a washer and dryer, buying marketing. The other 97% either don't think they need you, don't want you, or aren't ready to buy. So you have this 97% of these people, you have to help them overcome objections. You have to get them ready to do something, to take action. So can you automate that? Are you doing proposals? Is there a way to automate that? So scaling your business is really figuring out where there's areas that you can outsource or hire somebody to do it for less money or automate. So you're not doing everything in your business all the time.
That makes a lot of sense. Makes a whole lot of sense. And I am sure, and you know, one of the things that I do for my podcast is market it, right? And people are like, "You must be on social media all the time." I'm like, "No, I use an app. Are you out of your mind? I wish I could be on." And I think that's an example of that, right? But you know, if I was online as much as I post, I would never leave my computer but it's a third-party app that's really inexpensive that I use to drive. I have 10 social media accounts for various things, not just my business. But yeah, people are like, "I can't believe how engaged you stay online. I can't believe your social media presence." I'm like, "Yeah, I can't believe how awesome my buffer app is."
I mean, but can you imagine, Melanie, if you did all that stuff manually? That's what a ton of people do.
I know people who do.
They're out there doing all that stuff.
I know people who do, and I tell them about the app all the time. That Hootsuite, if you're a little more advanced in technology, is good too. But Buffer, to me, dirt cheap, $10, and you can run 10 social media sites, and they'll feed you content. What? Right. That's a no-brainer. So I think I'm sure that's an example of what you're talking about, that a lot of people don't. I recommend it all the time because people always ask me about my social media presence. They're like, "How do you post?" I'm like, "I'm not that good. I take an hour about, maybe once every 2 weeks and just load it, and then of course, promoting the promo for my show, but that's like one post for all my social media. Who has time for that?" And there are several examples like that, I'm sure.
Right. I mean, another example is you have a website and maybe you want them to call you for a consultation. most consultations are going to be the same questions to everybody. So if you know that you're asking these 5 questions to qualify if they're a good lead, do they have the budget? Are they even a client that you can make successful? Put it on a form. Like, have them fill that out and qualify them before you get on the phone with them. Like, if it's over and over, something you repeat over and over again, automate it or figure out a better way to do it.
Amen. I'm with you on that. And I encourage it. A lot of people are afraid of technology, though. That's the big thing.
They are, but it's, technology 10 years ago and technology today aren't the same. Like, we're demanding that things are easy. We're kind of forcing companies to not make things hard. So there's a lot of people that have this wall and they're like, technology, whoop,
yep.
And they're like, I can't do it. And they immediately start to sweat and they're immediately like frustrated, and they hadn't even tried because of an experience that they had 10 years ago.
Right.
And it's not optional. Like, you cannot scale or grow without it.
I was laughing about, there's somebody that I deal with in an organization, and the head of the organization doesn't text. And I was telling a friend of mine about that. And I think my publicist actually is who I was talking to. And I said, this dude who's the leader of this organization doesn't text. I said, quote unquote, doesn't text. Like, do people think technology was going to be a fad? Like, what do you mean you don't? Like,
well, it's sometimes it comes down to demographics and psychographics, where I'm very old school for my age because of how I was brought up. So if my kids get a birthday present, they're writing thank you cards. Mom would expect. And if there's just certain things that I think, if you're an older demographic or you come up in a different time, then texts are impersonal. Social media is impersonal. So it's not so much that it could be the technological barrier, but it could also be the psychology that this is not a real interaction. This is not a real conversation. And might pick up the phone and call everybody to ask them a question, because to them, they think that text is like a false sense of a relationship, or not a real human connection, or maybe technology is replacing human connection, which it is.
Right.
But that could be just like a social stigma that they have. Like, they're like, I am not going to even respond to your text message, which is a little bit crazy, but it just depends on what's important to them and what their value is. That's why there's so many people that just are like anti-Facebook because of what it means to them, and it's replaced relationships or destroyed relationships.
Yes, I do. I know. I know a friend of mine in particular that I can think of right now. He just refuses, and this is what kind of it's kind of annoying, because I know he's right. Right, on this level, he's like, I had it and it just took up too much of my time, and so I got rid of it. And I'm like, that is so mature. I hate you.
There's all these statistics about, and that's why marketing on Facebook is such a certain businesses, because there are people that are on Facebook, the average is 3 to 5 hours. What did you do before Facebook? Like, what were you doing with that time that you have 3 to 5 hours to spend on Facebook?
It's ridiculous when you think about it. I mean, and that's why I said, I hate the fact that I know he's right, that, you are wasting time, but to have the maturity to say, I'm not doing this anymore. When, like, literally the whole world is basically on Facebook, and you're like, I'm out. I have things to do. I'm not doing it. So,
it's a principle.
I admire him, but kind of hate him because he never knows what I'm doing because it's on Facebook. But that's all. I'm like, well, it was on Facebook. You didn't see. Yeah, but it doesn't work that way. Okay, so talk to us about key things that a business needs to do to be successful online.
So a couple things. First, you need to understand that we have absolutely no attention span. So we see 4,000 to 10,000 ads a day, which is what we used to see in a month 20 years ago. So because of that, our attention span is 3 to 5 seconds. 3 to 5 seconds. So a goldfish's attention span is 8 seconds. Our attention span is shorter than a goldfish now. So that matters to any email you send, any phone call you make or voicemail message you leave, any cold call you make, anything that your website says. People make a decision within 3 to 5 seconds if they're going to listen, if they're going to leave, if they're going to read. So how you communicate has changed online. So within 3 to 5 seconds, in order for your website to stand out, you have to say what you do, who you serve, and what's in it for them clearly in 1 to 2 sentences max. Not long run-on sentences because you can't figure out how to concisely say it in 6 words. Like clear sentences. You have 3 to 5 seconds.
Wow.
It's terrifying.
It is. That is terrifying. That's why you need a Marley Nonami in your life.
I mean, it's hard for us, and we do this all day long. So you have to be clear on what your value proposition is, and it can't be long, and it's got to stand out. So what we have a lot of people do is we'll do a 5-second stranger test. You can, before you go to a coffee shop or a restaurant or anywhere, then you have your value pop or your main statement of what you do. You can put that on the top of your website. If you don't want to change your website, just put it somewhere. You can print it out on a document if you want to. You can write it out on a note card if you want to. And you can walk up to someone and say, hey, would you mind reading this real quick? And they're not going to know. People love to help. So first say, hey, can I ask for your help? Nobody's going to say no. And if they do, then they're just rude. And you give them the note card or you show them the website or have it up on your phone. Count to 5, give them 5 seconds, take it away, cover it up, and ask them, what does that person do? What do I do? Who do I serve? And what's in it for you? And if they can't answer that, if you talk to 10 people and 7 out of 10 can't answer it, you need to keep working.
Wow. That is so true though. And I mean, there's nothing more frustrating than going to a website and trying to figure out what the heck's going on there. And I think we've all been there, right? Where, you Google search somebody, you find their website, and then you get there and you're like, what? We're like, what is this? Yeah, it's really bad. And you're right. It's because of that short attention span. It's because we're used to getting information like that. And that is so true. That is.
You can't. I mean, the other thing that's really important, Melanie, and people don't realize this, I've rarely talked to a person that had just a great time building their website. Nobody said, oh, building my website was the best experience of my life. Oh. But if you build a website and you built a website 3 years ago, so many people are on our mobile phones that your website has to be mobile friendly.
Yes.
Mobile friendly means it looks the same on a big screen as it does on a screen that's this big. So and a good way to test it is to just pull your website up on your phone. And if your menus are cut off and your pictures are cut off, your site is not mobile friendly.
So annoying.
Will ding you. They won't send traffic to your site no matter how great the content is if it can't be seen on a mobile phone.
Really?
Nope. And here's the other thing. Not only does it need to be mobile friendly, it has to load in 3 seconds. So if you have this great image and it's big because nobody told you to put a small image on your site or to make sure that it's not a big file, you have 100 people that go to your website. Within 3 seconds, 50% have left.
Because it's buffering this doggone image.
Right. Every second after that, 50% more people leave. So if you have 100 people that go to your website, within 6 seconds, you're down to 12.
Wow. Wow. That's stunning and so important. So important. Now, the first thing I'm going to do when we get off the air, right? It's going to be on my phone.
You should. That's the first thing you should do when we get off the air. Everybody should be on their phone right now pulling up their website.
I'm going to pick up my iPad pick up my iPhone and go to Money Talk with Melanie and see how quickly it had. Now I use WordPress, and it usually will give me, what it looks like. It gives you like the mobile version, like you can click on the mobile version to type. But who knows if that always translates in real time.
Well, and Google has a speed test, so you can Google speed test, or it's called Page Insights, and you can put your domain in, and it will test it for you, and it'll give you a score 0 to 100, and it'll tell you exactly what to fix.
Okay, good. I like that. Very good. Good to know. So speaking of Google, let's talk a little bit about AdWords and using AdWords. How does that work exactly?
So first, a disclaimer about AdWords. Do not pay for ads until you know that your site is converting. Meaning, if 100 people are coming to your site and you're not getting 3 to 5 emails for those 100 people, don't pay for ads. Don't pay for more people to get there until you get to 3 to 5%. That's the average. Like I said, 3% are always buying. You, at a minimum, need to get to 3%, because if you just send more traffic there and it's not clear, it's not loading, it's not mobile friendly, then you're just paying to get more people there to not do anything.
Yep.
So AdWords is great to send traffic to your site once it's doing well.
Okay, that makes a lot of sense.
You can test it. Now, you might say, well, I don't get any traffic, so how am I supposed to get 100 people to my site and I don't get any traffic? The cheapest way to get traffic is to run Facebook ads for $5 a day. So if you are a dog sitter and you don't know if it's more important to people to have someone spend time with your dog, or if it's more important to hire a dog sitter that you trust, then you run 2 Facebook ads. One says, trustworthy dog sitters are so hard to find, but I'm one. Or, don't leave Rover alone all day long when you're at work. I'll go play with him. You can test those 2 ads for $10 and see which one resonates more without changing the website, without doing a new page, without doing anything. So you can start to test messaging and test what works and what doesn't work. Do that before you run AdWords too.
That is an excellent idea. That's excellent suggestion. Okay, that makes sense. Now, another question. Explain this whole SEO thing. What does it mean? What do we use it for? And why is it so important?
So SEO is search engine optimization. It means when someone types in a question, they should find you as the answer. So don't think of it in terms of, now it's hard because people will look for advice on SEO. They follow some blogs that they see. They put the time and effort in and they don't get the results, and they think SEO doesn't work. And that's not the case. They were probably just trying to rank on something that they were never going to be found for, or it's too competitive. So if you Google best whatever your product or service is, and you type FOR, and let Google autofill, you can see like the searches that people are looking for. So what you want to look for are the problems that people are searching for. You want to be an answer to the questions that people are asking. I can't rank for dog trainers, but I might be able to rank for, why does my dog bark every time I leave the house? Why is my dog tearing up the carpet at night? All these things that maybe it's a training issue, but I'm not looking for dog trainers. I'm just trying to solve my problem with my dog.
Gotcha. Okay.
So SEO, it's important to understand what problem you solve and what questions people have in their heads. If you have clients, you can go to them and say, what happened that you hired me? Sometimes there's a pattern among customers, and they said, I broke up with my boyfriend. Really? I'm a life coach. Well, yeah, but I broke up with my boyfriend. Okay. So you don't go into it thinking you know. You can just ask your clients, what happened? How did you find me? Or what were you searching for? What was the problem that happened that you were like, you know what? I need to call Melanie. What was that thing that happened that made you find me?
That makes a lot of sense. That makes a lot of sense. And I think, you know, SEOs are one of those things. The whole concept of the SEO is one of those things that it just scares the heck out of people when they see it, because it sounds so hyper technical. Mm-hmm. And it just, you just go, oh, I don't want to touch that. I don't want to look at that, because that's big, scary, techie stuff.
Right. but and you know, it's a misconception when people say, if I just blog consistently, I'll get traffic. You won't. Like, there's too much information. There's too much content out there. You don't have to be smart to have a business. You just have to have Siri, or you have to have Alexa and ask a question, and you can get an answer for the most part.
Yep.
But if you can give people insight, if you can save me time, money, if you can help me save 3 hours of searching other crappy sites on Google and give it to me in one place, that's how you stand out.
There it is, right there. Bethanie Nonami, folks. That's why you need to hire the good folks at Marley Nonami. That's the name of the company, correct? And where can they find you?
They can go to Marley Nonami, MarleyNonami.com. And there's SEO webinar resources on there. There's growth assessments on there. There's tons of stuff that they can get if they want to learn, just like, what is SEO, or what are the things that I should be doing?
Yep, and it's beautiful. The website's gorgeous, and everything that she said that you should be doing with a website, the woman practices what she preaches. The website's gorgeous, and it's super fast. So it is. I try to do a fair amount of research before I have a guest on, and yeah, it's gorgeous and it's super fast. Absolutely love it. Thank you so much for being on Money Talk with Melanie this morning. I appreciate it so very much, and I hope you'll come back.
Absolutely. It's my pleasure.
Absolutely. Have a great day. Enjoy your Monday.
All right, you too. Bye.
Bye. That was Bethanie Nonami, folks, of Marley Nonami. And you need to go to her website, check them out. If you Google Marley Nonami, she will come right up, and her website will come up. And like I said, it's absolutely gorgeous, full of fantastic information, and it is super duper fast. So you definitely want to check out her company and her services. So I wanted to let you guys know that we do have a new sponsor called eJob Exchange, and the company is launching tonight, I guess officially tomorrow. And what they do is they're a resolution to traditional job posting and recruiting. So, you know, your Indeeds and your ZipRecruiters of the world, that's their competition. What they've done is they developed a platform in a market that combines cutting-edge technology, which, as you all know, I'm very into, that not only provides recruiters and hiring managers an affordable and innovative way to post their open positions through one job board, but it matches those job seekers to those available jobs through social media, which is huge. I'm going to tell you more about that on Wednesday, but I wanted to introduce eJob Exchange to my audience. I want to thank everyone for listening. I want to thank Bethanie Nonami for being with us this morning. She was fantastic. Remember, all of this is very important because it's your money.